This is your World War III update. Look, no matter what your interpretation of the complete and utter implosion in the White House was today, you need to understand one thing. When it all goes down, you are going to be on your own. And I mean really, really on your own. They can't even get their own house in order. Do you really think that they're going to be able to muster the forces necessary to meet the needs of even a minuscule fraction of the population when this whole shithouse goes up in flames? This iconic imagery behind me could not be more prophetic in its foreshadowing of the events that are unfolding today. Now, whether you believe what's happening with Trump and Elon is real, maybe it's a psyop, maybe it's something that is going to be mended in the next few days, and it is largely the result of two very temperamental and capricious personalities. And they're going to kiss and make up, and they're going to withdraw the Epstein. Oh, I didn't mean that, and this and that. No matter what, the fact that we would need to resort to such theatrics or air out our dirty laundry, even if this was 4D chess, for us to sacrifice our credibility and demonstrate that we are among the most ghetto of democracies to ever have graced the planet Earth, it's over. It is over. There's no coming back from this. Our adversaries right now, they're watching this, okay? Imagine them watching this dumpster fire unfold in Washington right now. And they're just dumbfounded. They probably don't even know how to interpret it, because this manner of conducting yourself just is not amenable to the way that you typically conduct politics and statecraft. So I almost think that if this is 4D chess, if it's just to look as crazy as possible. Remember that episode of The Fresh Prince where he's like, if you got to fight somebody, act like like you should be in a mental asylum, and then maybe he'll leave you alone? Maybe that's what this is. That's the only 4D component to this. But you know what? The strange thing is, if this is a distraction, okay, it's a damn good one, because right now, the shit's hitting the fan in Kiev. The largest aerial attack on Ukraine is currently underway as we speak. We have massive attacks now on Russian oil refineries again near Engels Air Base. So they've restarted with the attacks on the oil and gas infrastructure. Trump is applauding the recent attacks on nuclear bombers, calling them badass, okay? It's all falling apart. Today, CENTCOM is ordering another aircraft carrier to the region. There's a cyber attack currently underway, or what I think is probably a cyber attack due to widespread power outages in Iran. It's all hitting the fan right now. You are on your own. And I don't know what it's going to take for people to really truly appreciate this situation. I want to show you this video. Look, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and it's such a fluid situation. The best I can contribute at this point in time is my perspective, my meta-analysis of things. This is the video of, Mount Etna in Italy. I can't remember the exact name of the mountain, but these are people, okay, and they're sitting there and they're watching this volcanic eruption take place. And at first, there's fascination. It's incredible. It's a feat. Oh, we're getting this on camera. Yay, I'm going to be able to upload this. I'm going to be able to stream about this. Now, at this point, when I seen that pyroclastic flow moving at that speed, I'm getting the hell out of there, but they're still all in awe. And this is a very important lesson in terms of human psychology and herd mentality. Is all it takes is one person to spook the herd, one person to freak out, and everybody freaks out. But in this instance, at this point, these people should have been running. But it's not until one person says it's time to go that everybody takes off. So watch this. Like common sense would dictate, it's time to get the hell out of there. It's time to go. It's time to go. Now it's time to panic. That's what it's going to be like on day X. Everybody's going to be in disbelief, and they're going to be looking to each other as a social reference. You need to think for yourself. You need to try to think for yourself, because nobody's going to come and save you, because these are the people in charge. And it's not a Republican thing, it's not a Democrat thing, it's a human psychology thing. So, in terms of what's going on in Ukraine, well, the biggest attack ever. I'm not sure if this is, in fact, the retaliation for the attacks on the Russian strategic bomber force, because while it is the biggest by far in terms of sheer numbers, at least for a single strike, we're talking about 400 UAVs, 24 caliber missiles, 64 KH-101s. We have perhaps the failed launch of Reznik missiles as well, and just a variety of other missiles. We have 4 warships in there. We have 7 bombers currently in play, whichever bombers Russia has left. So we know that this is a massive escalation. Donald Trump today, he said that he describes this past weekend's large-scale drone attack by Ukraine against air bases in Russia as strong and badass, according to Axios. And the White House, of course, has been unusually quiet about Ukraine's recent operation targeting Russia's fleet of long-range nuclear-capable bombers. From an international perspective, he says, you've got a chihuahua inflicting some real damage on a much bigger dog. And how timely is it that the Sentinel program is currently being put into operation? That is the replacement for the Minuteman missile system. The Sentinel program is not a simple missile replacement, but a systems-level overhaul of the U.S. nuclear forces. A new missile feature will be improved propulsion, guidance, cyber resilience, and survivability against emerging threats. So all of this is being put into play at the exact same time. We got lots of footage, some of which I can show you. So this is footage, a bit of a glare there on the screen, unfortunately. But as you can see, some are saying that this is a satellite that is re-entering the atmosphere, and it very well may be. However, this was shown in Kazakhstan, so this could very well have been a failed Reznik that, for whatever reason, was not able to reach its apogee and fell back into the atmosphere and broke up. It's hard to say. Because it's in Kazakhstan, of course, many people are suspecting. However, Kazakhstan is a place for a lot of launches. So it's, I mean, one would suspect that this very well could be it, as many are suspecting that indeed that is what is planned for the retaliation for what happened to Russia's nuclear forces, which of course is likely going to prompt some changes to New START, which expires last year. And that is the last existing treaty to prevent us from reducing ourselves to cavemen and fighting with sticks and stones, as Einstein would say. That's the last remaining treaty, and I'm sure many aspects of that treaty are not being honored at this point due to, of course, the war being waged between Russia and the United States. Now, this is another major attack inside the Bryansk region on an airfield, and this was allegedly Ukrainians, Bryansk is in Russia, Ukrainians targeting a storage facility that held these, what kind of missiles were these? What kind of missiles? I believe they were Iskander missiles. Okay, so this war is just getting disgustingly out of control under Trump. I mean, it is just crazy. And if you don't think we're involved in this, think again. Okay, we have Mirage planes, French planes in the Black Sea. And of course, we also have the usual suspects, the Boeing P-8A Poseidon near Sochi once again. Well, all this shit is going down. All right. So bad things are brewing right now. The U.S. is doing a nuclear overhaul. You had the whole thing with the German chancellor today in the Oval Office, which was incredibly awkward, to say the least. I'm not really going to give too much more of an opinion on this whole Trump-Elon fiasco because a part of it does feel as though it's somewhat contrived, and the suddenness of it all. But like I said, if this is how we conduct ourselves in such a petulant manner, how can we ever possibly be expected to be taken seriously on the global stage? I mean, we just have reduced everything so irreverently to, and I don't know if it's the consequence of the media that we're consuming, if it's TikTok, if it's just the constant degradation of our mental faculties in this society, that we think that what happened today was okay and acceptable for our leadership class that is supposed to represent us as a nation. And I say us because Canada and the United States are in lockstep, okay? So whenever I, criticize the United States, I'm criticizing Canada too, whether it be our tacit complicity in anything the United States does, or the fact that we share the longest border, we can put our quarters in your pop machines and vice versa. We're one and the same. Culturally, we are the same. So it's over and you need to prepare. It's only going to get worse. I mean, just the things that are happening right now, just from day to day, it's just insane. Silver hit another record high today. It's hitting another record high right now. I mean, I don't know what's going on today, guys. It's one thing after another. It's just weird. This is central banks, central bank gold buying. Undeclared purchases, estimated undeclared purchases are through the roof in the last 3 years. So why are they buying so much gold? Why are they stockpiling the gold? Because they know shit is going to hit the fan. Now, if this is 4D chess and Trump and Elon are going at it because maybe, just maybe somebody's got dirt on somebody. Maybe, somebody was grooming somebody with Epstein. Either or. Maybe somebody's trying to blackmail somebody. Maybe Israel has a hand in this. The Mossad, there's a lot of weird connections going on there with respect to Epstein. And the whole purpose of Epstein was to be able to have leverage so that you could blackmail people to get them to do what you wanted them to do, right? So one thing that would take attention away from this crash out with Trump and Elon Musk is a war. And so right now, Trump really does need a war if it's true that there's a massive controversy impending, or if Elon Musk is just talking shit. Because quite frankly, it's very passive-aggressive for Musk. All of a sudden, he has all this information about Trump and Epstein. I'll show you the exact tweet if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I just presume people know what's going on, and I shouldn't. Okay, so there's a big war between Elon Musk and Donald Trump now. Time to drop a really big truth bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is a real reason. They have not been made public. Okay, so we know that Trump is mentioned in there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's incriminated in there. That should be, obvious from the get-go. Either way, this could easily be construed as quite libelous. And that's not somebody you want to be messing with, no matter if you're the richest man in the world or not. You don't want to be messing with the POTUS if this is actually real deal acrimony or if it's just all a facade. And of course, Alex Jones is like the good little lapdog he is. He's looking to see who he should pledge his allegiance to, because of course, both of these guys are in some way supporting what Alex Jones is doing in whatever sort of political grift arc he is on right now. Elon Musk, of course, pumps him in the algorithm and monetizes him, and I suppose Donald Trump is where the majority of his followers descend from. So I would say that, and you have, people taking sides, so is this a way to divide MAGA, blah, blah, blah. But I could very well see, if it is true that there is some real deal enmity between Netanyahu and Donald Trump, which I highly doubt, which I don't believe, not for 1 second at all. But I'm saying if the 1% chance, then maybe if there's some truth to this, maybe this is Israel's way of saying, okay, you better bomb Iran, you better go to war with Iran or else. I don't think that's this, okay? Because I just don't think that Donald Trump has a lot of dirt on him with the whole Epstein thing. Just the way he talks about it, you know, I'm pretty good at lie detection, and he's too lackadaisical and laissez-faire and open with respect to it. Now, I think Melania was set up with him through Epstein, from what I recall hearing. I don't know how true that is, but when it comes to, and maybe she was groomed, you know, there's quite an age gap there. I don't know. But I don't think there's anything egregiously bad that Donald Trump was doing there. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. So I think either, and if that is the case, that Elon is just spouting off, then either he lacks the awareness to know the heat that he's bringing on himself, and he's just saying things that have no basis in reality, or he's got some people backing him, okay? And so if he has people backing him that are going to protect him from whatever reprisal Trump is going to now take as a result of these statements, and Trump hasn't responded, which is weird. Trump is really being the professional one in this case. I think Carolyn Levitt said that boys will be boys, which is a great way to, I guess, have fielded that question from reporters today. So it's difficult to say what's really going on here. This is kind of what you would expect. This is Jerry Springer for politics. I mean, as above, so below. What did we expect would happen? We watched Jerry Springer for all those years. We watched Jackass for all those years, Beavis and Butthead, Idiocracy, and here we are. It's finally worked its way to the White House. I mean, the disease, the mind disease, as Elon always says, which he is a part of. It's just a different, strain of the disease, which he claims is more advanced, but I'm not so sure about that. Anyways, you have Steve Bannon calling for the nationalization of SpaceX, because it is, of course, a national security risk. The only reason why Elon is being funded at all is because, it's a part of the military-industrial complex, and the higher purpose of SpaceX, it's not Mars, as we all know, it's about the militarization of space. Whether it's the cars that are going to take away your driving rights, whether it's X, that's going to track your every thought, whether it's Neuralink that's going to control your thoughts, whether it's Starlink that's going to control your whereabouts and know where you are at any given time, or whether it is the robots that are going to be putting cops in everybody's home. All of this is there for the purpose of full spectrum panoptical control over your life. And Elon Musk is the guy that they needed to usher it all in. They need the hero to usher it all in. And that's crazy. We've been primed by Hollywood for years. Do you realize this? I mean, think about Batman. Batman is like this multi-billionaire guy who is supposed to also be the crime fighter, or Tony Stark. All of these heroes, we've been groomed for this moment by the media to accept this level of control, but in order to bring it in, they needed to plaster a face that everybody would view as anti-establishment. So look at the situation you have. This is an Illuminati wet dream, and I don't even believe in the Illuminati. I think these sort of shadowy scapegoats are just that. Illuminati, Bilderberg, Council on Foreign Relations, the Schiller Institute. I mean, the list goes on and on of all the three-letter agency scapegoats to that are faceless and nameless and blameless. But with respect to this, what was I even talking about? I totally lost my train of thought now. I'm just going all over the place because this is so wild, man. Just to see this unfold in this way, to see things just collapse. It's quite a sight to behold. So they're going to terminate subsidies and contracts. And, you know, Elon Musk had a black eye the other day. Some people think that that's because he got in a fight with Scott Bessent and Scott Bessent punched him. I mean, that just seems outrageous if true. Jim Cramer, I think this was just a fake tweet, but sometimes fake tweets are fun. Might as well have fun. What a beautiful relationship between Elon and Trump. I'm very bullish. He also said that World War III was, I think he said that. Maybe that was a fake one too. Tesla's down today, of course. Who knows? But again, you know, they could resolve this problem tomorrow and MAGA will forget about the Epstein thing and they'll make up some excuse in their mind as to why it was no big deal. And people are so tribalistic and easy to control. You even got Kanye in there saying, please, bros, we love both of you so much. Don't fight. When Kanye is the voice of reason, you're beyond the pale. That's for sure. These are the estimated losses. This is from Schizo Intel, an infographic. And this is the estimated losses of Russia's aviational forces. Nearly half of their Tu-95s, or at least 40%, are now basically out of commission. And I think a lot of these that are showing as being in commission are probably not completely flight worthy either. So of their Tu-22s, which are slightly more stealthy, 8 have been destroyed, 3 have been damaged, 29 are fully operational, and I'm not sure. I know this guy is very credible, even though we disagree on the ethics of how all of this is playing out and the politics of it all. He has very accurate information. In terms of this last operation alone, it looks as though they lost 8 or 7 Tu-95s. It looks as though they lost 6 Tu-22s with a couple damaged, a couple permanently lost. And it looks as though they have lost had more that are under maintenance of the Tu-95s. And another, I think that was an AWACS plane, the one that they don't show on here. So, you know, things are just getting wildly out of control. I wish I never forgot just now what I was about to talk about. I was going to go on an Elon Musk Illuminati arc. Oh yes, what was I going to talk about? I was referencing the Illuminati, and I was talking about how, oh boy, it's been such a head spin of a day. I wish I could go back and rewind the tape. It's going to come to me when I shut this thing down, unfortunately. Okay, let's, maybe it'll come to me. Let's talk about CENTCOM. Another military buildup. Pentagon top brass are expected to soon weigh a new request from U.S. Central Command to deploy a second aircraft carrier strike group consisting of roughly a half-dozen warships, along with the additional fire squadrons and air defense assets to the Middle East, Al Monitor has learned. Several U.S. B-52 Stratofortress bombers remain within striking distance of central Iran on the southern Indian Ocean island of Diego Garcia, which is somewhat of a moot point considering that the B-2s could deploy from the United States if need be. The USS Carl Vinson, carrying one of the Navy's 3 squadrons of stealth-capable F-35Cs, I believe those are the VTOL, vertical takeoff ones, with F-18s remain in the Middle Eastern waters. This comes at the request of Michael Kurilla. Now, there's a widespread power outage in Iran. When they do Iran, everybody's looking to the skies. Everybody's looking for the fireworks show. But in the run-up to that, what you're likely going to see is very similar to what you've seen with Hezbollah. They are going to try to sow confusion and chaos. They are going to do asymmetrical kinetic attacks, cyber attacks. I would expect to see power outages. I would expect to see acts of sabotage. I would expect to see assassinations unfold before any massive Big Arrow campaign was initiated. Now, according to Professor Mohammed Marandi, who was on the channel recently, he claims that the Iranians are far more protected from those types of asymmetrical attacks due to the spectrum of control that they have over their country, in contrast to something like Lebanon, where you have 2 parties that are essentially vying for power. In fact, you have a lot of spies, and you have a U.S. embassy, for example, who, of course, is aligned more so with the Lebanese government. So there's a lot of skullduggery afoot. So perhaps Iran is going to be more vigilant and not succumb to the same fate as Hezbollah or Nasrallah. But I would expect the attack to come from the sides and not from the skies, if and when it does ultimately go down. Well, unfortunately, it has not come to me what I wanted to talk about earlier. I know it was fairly important, but I guess I'm just getting old. Yeah. Now, in terms of the specifics of what's going on with Iran, so the International Atomic Energy Agency could formally censure Iran this month. France and the UK could then trigger retaliatory UN sanctions. If that happens, Iran has threatened to leave the Non-Proliferation Treaty. That, of course, would be likely a major red line, and that would be go time, and that would be the legal basis, if you can even say that in terms of international law, for some sort of intervention by the United States and Israel, of course. Now, whether or not you believe that the international rules-based order has any legitimacy, I guess, is another question. And do they even need that? Of course they don't need that. They'll just do it if they want to, with impunity. But nonetheless, we should expect that this is how things are going to play out. It is not looking good for Iran. It looks as though the decision has been made. And people are fixated on this issue of enrichment and them being at an impasse on enrichment. It has nothing to do with Iran getting a nuclear weapon, because Iran probably could have already made a nuclear weapon and nobody would have known. They could have gotten one from the North Koreans. They could have got them from Pakistanis. It's not really about that. It's about regional power and hegemony. And Iran is in the way of a plan for world domination. So they need to be removed by hook or by crook. And right now, the casus belli is simply Iran can't have a nuke. But Iran is not really helping the situation when they make these overt threats towards Israel. Like some of the things that Iran's state-sponsored media is posting, it's like, why would you post something so provocative? Like, I could never see the Russians posting something so provocative. And even if you thought there was legitimacy to their condemnation of Zionism and Israel, it just wouldn't make sense at this stage of the game when you're trying to play the strategic long game and you're trying to not give them an excuse. Why would you give them that excuse, right? So anyways, yeah, it's not going to end well. It's going to end very badly. And the talks have been canceled, at least for now, with Steve Witkoff and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Now, Vladimir Putin said that he is going to go to Iran. According to Iranian sources, Putin will go to Iran. Now, I think this was part of the deal. Yesterday, a lot of controversy occurred with respect to Donald Trump posting a tweet that summarized his hour and what he claimed hour and 15-minute long conversation with Vladimir Putin, which some say Putin initiated, some say Trump initiated. Of course, this is on the heels of a major attack on Russia's nuclear bomber forces. If it's an hour and 15-minute long meeting, you need to have that for translation, because Putin will never speak in English with our leadership. And then you also have to, basically afford maybe 20 minutes to both sides opening statements. Trump can be rather loquacious, so I would expect maybe 30 minutes, of that, 45 minutes total was opening statements. And of course, because Trump exaggerates the length of things, it's probably more like an hour. So they had about 15 minutes of exchanges. So what I'm trying to say is that was a very short conversation in light of the very high stakes circumstances that we find ourselves in. But in Trump's summary, he kind of spilled the beans a little bit, and then he deleted the tweet. And then he reinstated the tweet thereafter. And it appeared as though he might have said something within the tweet that some advisor told him, you better take that down, right? Now, the reason why I think Putin initiated this call, which makes it more serious, of course, is because if Trump was going to have a call with Putin, he would probably blab about it before it happened. And this was rather impromptu, it appeared. So when he reinstated that comment, half the comment was to do with Iran. So it appears as though that he is going to try to, or at least maybe Putin, as a way of kicking the can down the road, has made the empty promise that he is going to try to broker some sort of deal with Iran. And that maybe the Russians are going to in some way oversee this, but that was already something that was there with the JCPOA. So this is not about that. This is about buying more time, right? The Russians are going to give Trump a little bit more time to say, okay, Putin's going to help broker this deal, and so we can maybe buy a couple months, maybe. But anything is possible. Shit could really hit the fan. Look how fast Elon and Trump turned on each other. Like out of nowhere. Like everything's fine for the most part. There was a little bit of a spat there. It was more indirect, right? It was more like, okay, I think this bill is blah, blah, blah. But Elon's bringing up this shit like it's new. I mean, all of this stuff. Like the Epstein thing, if like, did Elon just suddenly get a conscience? If he's known about all this stuff, if he's known about, you know, the debt for the longest time, why wasn't he making more noise about these things? So what was it that triggered him? And many people suspect that it was the cutting of funding. I don't know what it was. Was his ego hurt? Was he mad because he got kicked out of the White House because he's kind of an oddball? And maybe it was just kind of, maybe Trump was getting tired of babysitting his kid. I don't know. But something triggered him, okay? And so a lot of these statements, it's like, where were you? And you have so many people who are just, it's just like born to follow, you know? Like, I'll never understand it. Like, immediately take sides. Oh, Elon's my guy. No, Trump's my guy. Who's your guy? Who gives a shit? The shit's gonna hit the fan, you idiots. It's so annoying to watch. It's just so, you know, we're bred. I think the Romans started this with the Colosseum. But, you know, in America, we took it to a whole new level with sports, professional sports, and the level of tribalism and how it is, what is the terminology that they use? Sublimated. It's a psychological term where you sublimate your natural energies into something that is less threatening and more socially acceptable, I suppose. And the way we've done it is, it's just reached levels of eccentricity that have damned us all, for sure. We're doomed. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we're doomed. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. He always says, he never says these things to the people's face. It's very passive-aggressive, which is strange. So Steve Bannon is going to bat for Trump, and he's saying that we need to revoke Elon's license. And this could actually end bad for you if this is real, if this is even real, or if this is just, you know. But I think with this, the reposting of these videos with Trump and there's a part of this that just seems like it's like Lindsey Graham. You know, he's got a puppeteer up his ass telling him what to say because you know they got dirt on him. Is it Elon who has dirt on him? And they're forcing him to do this to Trump, to create this division. Maybe MAGA and the right in general was getting too popular, so they need to divide it up. Elon's talking about a third party and impeachment. So things are getting weird. Things are getting weird. $36, silver. There we go. All right. Go watch the Canadian Prepper channel because you need to start doing stuff. Just listening to this shit every single day is not going to put you in a position where you're going to be able to ride out what's coming. Remember this. This is the government in a nutshell. This is perfect. I'm actually going to get this image. It's a tragic incident, but at the same time, this is one of the most prescient images, I think, ever in history. And this image is going to go down in the history books as not being the beginning of the end, because the beginning of the end started long before this, but this most certainly was a very important chapter right before the major climax. All right, my friends, thank you very much for watching, and I'll keep you posted if shit hits the fan some more tonight. Take care.